All right, all right, all right. What is up? What is happening? I'm sorry. I see Jerry. I see you in the comments, man. You've been here for 10 minutes. We are sorry for making you wait, man. Ephraim, Mr. Irrelevant, is down in Mobile right now for the Senior Bowl. A huge week for the fantasy football community and the NFL draft community, NFL nuts, everybody in Gilded, the title tribe. So I hopped in with him for about 20 minutes to recap day one. So if you're listening now, no matter when you're listening, go to our YouTube channel, check that out because there's a lot of insight in there, not just for NFL or fantasy football fans. We touched on like offensive linemen, D linemen, DBs, linebackers. Like he kind of gave a lay of the land. And tomorrow night, I'll be going live with him again and George Reed, who's also down there for the second year in a row. The dude's an NFL draft veteran now. But Justin, me and you sat in the green room for about 10 minutes BSing. That's another reason
Yeah.
why we're a little late, man. But how are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. Yes, Pete, that is your DJ Moore in the background, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But fun episode tonight. Bathroom boards, fourth annual bathroom boards. Not gonna break the news right here, right now, but so far in the history of the bathroom board bets, I won the inaugural year. Coach has won the last 2 years. So
You're teasing it. You won.
I'm 1-2. Coach is 2-1. So needed to. Let's just say it's not always the most fun thing to lose on the bathroom board night because you have to wait an entire year to get your redemption, or in my case, 2 years.
And the bathroom board. So this is episode 214. It's the 2023 bathroom board. It's year 4. The bathroom board is something we created year 1. And shout out to Ephraim, man. Dude's a freshman in college. The way I met this cat is he DM'd me questions about prospects, and not because he didn't know about them, because he had like 100 followers following, multiple people. So he was just starting his journey, just DMing me questions. Somehow he found me. I'm nobody. And then we just start, chatting with each other. This cat goes by himself to Mobile. Like, I love following this guy's journey. He's going somewhere. Everybody needs to check him out. That's bold and commitment and dedication. So shout out to him. But now
we appreciate you, Ephraim.
Back to the bathroom board. So this is what the bathroom board essentially is. We're a fantasy football show. We're also NFL draft. So anytime anybody on the show, it could be me, it could be Justin, it could be George, it could be Jason, Rich, Nate, anybody from T2T. If they disagree, we can make it a bet. Like it could be simple stuff like so-and-so is going to throw for more than this or that. It could be just throw more than this number. It could be throw more than this player. You'll figure out what it's all about as we get into them later on. But now that we have the title tribe chat, every single for year 5 of the bathroom board, I extend an invitation, an open invitation to every member of the title tribe in Gilded. Fair game. From here on out, feel free to bring up the bathroom board and we will, as long as you DM it to me or Justin and say, hey, this is a bet, send us a screen cap that me and so-and-so made. We'll put it on the board, man.
Yeah.
And then you'll have an opportunity to win the 5th annual bathroom board because it's about community and kind of, in a sense, putting money where your mouth is, but it's mostly for bragging rights.
Yeah, because we do want to we want to make sure that we have a certain number of bets to really qualify to try to win this little competition. If we can get enough bets from the title tribe, then maybe we can start putting up a little bit of a reward for winning the bathroom bets if we have that many bathroom bets in the interaction. Because for this year, we only had 4 people that, in my mind, really made enough bets to really qualify. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of dangling a carrot at the end of the stick. A little award. Maybe we'll come up with a little trophy or something that we could engrave names on, pass it around.
There you go.
Yeah, I kind of like that of just a toilet. Like the with a toilet with like a chalkboard behind it, and that's where we'll put the engraved names on the chalkboard. Yeah. All right, check out toiletsandtitles.com. Our dynasty rankings team. Our dynasty rankings are up on the site every 2 weeks. These guys are updating their rankings. So shout out to that crew. We're also going to be doing in our chat every week. We're still narrowing down the dates and the times. We're going to be running dynasty startup mocks, filling them in Gilded. And if there's enough interest, we'll do multiple. So we're going to pick a day and a time every week. So you'll know I got to be free at this time. I got to be by my phone. I got to be by the sleeper app. We're doing that for Dynasty, but we've also developed an IDP rankings team. In the IDP rankings, so Dynasty rankings went live last week. They'll be updated every 2 weeks. IDP rankings are going to go live Friday, and those are going to be updated every 2 weeks. And they went 50 deep at every single position on the defensive side of the ball. It's no joke. Pete's in here, man. Pete's one of the guys in the IDP team, Porg, Wicked. So we got guys, and then we're also going to do IDP mocks in the Gilded chat. It's going to be a different day, a different time. You'll know, hey, if I want to do an IDP mock, I can get in there. I can tell the guys, they'll send me the sleeper link. I'll get involved. So we got tons of stuff going on. You need to get into the Gilded chat. Reach out to me, toiletstetitles@gmail.com. I will send you the link. It is free. You'll join the community, man, because when football's gone, it won't be gone in the Title Tribe Gilded chat. It'll be like, dude, we're like, put it like this. I'm going to compare it to something. Do you think Christmas ends at the North Pole?
Do I think Christmas ends at the no, that's where it begins.
Dude, it like the day after Christmas is probably the most exciting day of the year at the North Pole. So that's football. We are the we
Santa
are.
Santa only takes 1 day off,
Yeah.
and that is, that's, Thanksgiving, just to get away from everything, and he goes to a beach somewhere, and that's where when you see that fat old guy with the white beard sitting on the
Yeah.
beach, that's Santa Claus. That's his 1 day off, and it's on Thanksgiving.
Right. And the Title Tribe, the Gilded chat is to the NFL what the North Pole is to Christmas. All right. So
Absolutely.
that's my comparison. That's how I'm tying that all together. But I'm getting a little crazy now. We have some Super Bowl squares, $20 squares. Get in there. I think $2.50 per every square goes to the Title Tribe Canton Fund, which is we're gonna have 3 houses minimum for Title Tribe Patreon members down there. Did Coach just annoy himself Santa football in a roundabout way? in a roundabout way. So reach out to me on Twitter at Coach Schepps or via email or in Gilded if you want some squares. And we also have some Patreon free squares. So Justin, can you describe how the Patreon free squares are kind of playing out?
Yeah, so there's obviously 100 squares in a Super Bowl square, 10 by 10. So if you're a Patreon member, if you're currently a Patreon member, then you get a free square for every tier level that you are in the Patreon. As of right now, that we have 89 spots filled just with Patreon, and this is non-staff members. So if you're a T2T staff member, sorry, but unfortunately, we would have been way beyond 100. We wouldn't have had enough space, so we're saving the spaces just for our Patreon supporters. We have 11 spots left out there. So if you want to join our Patreon, it's patreon.com/toiletstetitles. And again, for every tier level that you enter, you're going to get that many Super Bowl squares for free.
Yeah, man. And Pete, another donation, man. This guy's always hitting us up with these donations. We appreciate you. I'm telling you, we're just everything we get in YouTube. It's just we're keeping that rolling, and we're gonna take it out the day the money's due for Canton. So anybody, I think, what are those called? Super chats or star chats. So if you want to make a donation, it's greatly appreciated. If you're a member of the Title Tribe, you've seen, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. We've put back into the Title Tribe what you all like. We are so grateful for everything you've done for us, and we try to put it back into you guys, like with the Yeti cooler, the Yeti tumblers, now these houses in Canton. So we greatly appreciate you. Come get some Super Bowl squares. Justin, why don't we give a rival fantasy plug? Because we got some things coming down the pipe with them, and then we'll get into the bathroom board.
Yeah, we actually just had John and I just had a big meeting with Rival this morning to go over our contract for this next year, which includes, and I am, allowed to at least bring it up and mention it. They are going to be trying to do some fantasy baseball coming up, hopefully this season. Obviously, I can't say it's a definite thing until it's a definite thing, but we're hoping. Wink. So make sure that you're hitting us up on the DM so that you can get into our Gilded channel or Gilded chat, so we can put you in the fantasy baseball chat so that you can be ready for that. Because once it drops, they're ready to open up the gates and let us run, we're going to try to run out some leagues, some fantasy baseball leagues. But guys, just remember that just because the fantasy football season is coming to an end, because you can still do bingo boards for the Super Bowl, by the way, but the fantasy football season has come to an end. like I said, we've got baseball coming up. We already have other forms of betting for baseball. We've got NBA bets that you can be placing. So Rival is year round. So that's joinrival.com/title tribe. Your first deposit of up to $200 will be matched, plus an additional $25 just for using that link. Again, you see it scrolling down there at the bottom, joinrival.com/title tribe.
So, figuratively speaking, if Rival were to release their fantasy leagues, and if they were to be best ball leagues, and if you were to play them, you probably could play them anywhere from $1 an entry to like $100 an entry. And if that were a possibility, we probably do a bunch of those at all different levels. So I'm saying $5 leagues, $10 leagues, $20 leagues, $30 leagues. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and also tomorrow night it drops our very first ever baseball episode, Breaking Balls with Sean McDonald. And hey, you know what? It's funny, but
Yeah.
it's funny because it's a great show. Breaking Balls with Sean McDonald and Mad Dog. So they're going to be on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. It's going to be a pre-recorded show, but it will drop at 6 p.m. tomorrow. You want to make sure you check that out. And that's going to be a weekly every Wednesday show. If you like that intro, make sure you hit up our guy Will at Will underscore T to T, I believe, on the Gilded. Hit him up, DM him, tell him how great of a job he did with that intro, because it's pretty awesome.
Man, I'm telling. So Justin, we got to write this down because here's something I am going to do for you listening at home. And
Oh,
this
and Jed. Sorry, I don't want to forget Jed. It was
yeah,
Will and Jed. They worked
yeah.
together on that intro.
Jed's like the mastermind. He's the brain behind the video intros.
Yeah.
So Justin, you're gonna need to write this down because I'm gonna say it, and this will be: I will give away 20 $10 entries to a best ball leagues to people who get 4 friends to join a best ball league. Right. So
Nice.
that'll take up a half if we do 10, or you know, little less than half if we do 12. So we will make a graphic for this. We will advertise it if, figuratively speaking, Rival does that. That's $200 in entries. I will give away 20 $10 entries. And it's got to be like you can get multiple $10 entries. I'll just put you in different leagues if you get 4 different friends. Like you can get in 4 best ball leagues, and that would take you 16 friends. You would just need
Yeah.
16 friends to do that. It's not, some people got 16 friends, but enough about that. Start plotting, talk to your buddies, best ball, simple draft, and let it ride. Maybe you win some cash, maybe you don't, but at least you
Yeah,
get the
because
draft.
we have a football group, a football following, but we all know people. Even if you don't like baseball, we all know people that do. So definitely reach out to them, help us out.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. I'm drafting Yamcha early. That's a deep cut Dragon Ball reference that you don't get, but I'm sure there's people out there that do get it.
Yeah, drafting Yamcha sounds like you're picking up a venereal disease.
Oh gosh. All right. All right. To the bathroom board. Let's roll.
All right, let's do this. All
Tell me
right,
about it.
so
Pull it up.
the first bathroom board bet that we have on it. Do you say you want me to pull it up?
I don't know. No, just talk about it.
No,
We can
okay.
talk about it.
The first bathroom board we had, just following suit like every other year. The first bet is always by Coach. It seems like, and obviously he had a little back and forth with George about where Bijan was going to be drafted. George said that he did not think that Bijan was going to be a top 10 running back. Coach said he was going to be a top 10 running back in the draft. I mean, I'm talking about in the NFL draft. And Bijan was picked 8th overall. So Coach won that board bet. So you got to win the first official board bet. You actually even got to write down that you won before any of the other bets were really placed, if memory serves.
Because it's the draft. It's April. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was the
yeah,
first. That one was a good one. So I was
yeah.
I was proud of that one because me and George went at it on air. So and then he backtracked. He did some backpedaling, but he was firm that Bijan wasn't going to be in the
Yeah,
top
but I
10.
will say George kind of got back because he won the
Okay.
next 3 bets in a row.
Against
Um,
me?
2 of them were against you. So
Hot dog.
Aaron Jones Aaron Jones, a top 10 PPR running back. Coach, you said yes. You thought that Aaron Jones was going to be a top 10 running back. George said no. He turned out to be the RB 26 in points per game. Or wait, no. I believe he was RB 26 overall, and he would have been RB 18 in points per game if you take out the 2 games that he was injured. Okay, no. I see. Sorry. He was the RB 26 in points per game. So he would have been way beyond the RB 26 because he did miss some games. But if you take out the games that he missed and the 2 games where he left early because he was injured, he was the RB 18. So still not quite to that RB 10 range. But I think
Right.
part of that, we weren't really expecting, Jordan Love to really play quite as well as he did, and Dylan was used a lot more than he has been in the past. So
And Aaron Jones didn't play the Dallas Cowboys 16 weeks.
Salt in your own wound.
Yeah.
The next bet, Coach said that Zay Flowers was going to outscore DJ Moore in PPR, and George said no, that DJ Moore was going to outscore Zay Flowers. So George wins. Flowers was the wide receiver 30 on the season. DJ Moore was the wide receiver 6.
Oh,
And
God.
unfortunately, I didn't see this bet as it was happening, or I would have gotten in on that action because you see my background, obviously, DJ Moore. I made him my background for this reason because there are some bets coming up where he really helped me out, dude.
Man, I was bold. I was high on Zay Flowers. Holy cow.
Yeah, but think about it this way: like you're a college guy, you like
Right.
Dynasty, like you're not wrong. Like he's gonna be a talent. We see it,
Right.
right? He just had moments where he was a rookie, right?
Right.
And everybody, or not everybody, but most people seem to think that DJ Moore, um, playing with Fields and playing in that bad offense, he was just not going to, maintain the level of play that he's been able to do most of his career. So, I mean, I could see the bet.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Derek Carr will be a top 10 quarterback. George said no, and you'll never guess, but our man Rich said yes.
I
Derek
thought you were
Carr.
going to say I did. I was like, what? No way I said that.
No, this one was Rich. But honestly, he was closer than I thought. He would have ended up being. Derek Carr ended up being the QB 15. So George wins that one as well, and he did play every game, so that obviously helped him get closer to the 10 than I imagined he would.
That's with
Cam,
Cousins. If Cousins played, if Rodgers played, like those are 2 guys that got hurt and created terrible QB situations. That bumps Carr to at least QB 17.
Yeah, there were what I think like 12 or 14 starting quarterbacks that missed more than one game this year.
Yeah.
Pretty insane. Cam Akers, another guy that a lot of people were too high on, myself included. I thought he was going to be something special for the Rams this year. George obviously thought that Cam Akers was going to be something special because he chose him over Khalil Herbert. Coach, you went with Khalil Herbert, so now you get back at George again, because Cam ended up as the RB 66, 6.7 points per game. He never hit double digits all season, and he was traded after week 2. He was injured in week 9 and missed the rest of the season. Khalil Herbert was the RB 43 at 9.4 points per game, so a solid almost 3 full points more per game than
He was
Cam.
RB 43 at 9.4 points per game.
Yep. Yeah, this is
Really?
PPR points as well. So, and
Right.
and that was his points per game played.
Right.
So
Okay.
if he
Okay.
missed some, and I did the overall points when we're trying to determine the
Right.
winner. I mean, we always do that. If you choose the guy that only plays 2 games and gets hurt,
Right.
and he had more points per game, I mean, you still lose because the other guy outscored him. It's a season long bet unless it's designated otherwise.
My decision to go with Herbert over Akers wasn't so much boasting about Herbert. I think when I made the bet, it was more so like I just don't think like I'm so not into Cam Akers that like Herbert, I think, is an RB2. So I don't think he missed some time. I think he's a low end RB2. And that, with Roshan. And I have Akers below that. I just don't trust Cam Akers, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I was wrong. I trusted him. I thought he was solid. I thought he was a great play, and now I'm on the same wavelength with you. It just took a couple of knocks to the chin for me to
It's the
realize it.
Miles Sanders experience.
Yes, yes, I do have one of those from
Yeah,
year one.
yeah.
um, let's see. Yes, speaking of which, that was Sanders versus Monty. The next bet, you went with Monty.
Again,
You said that David Montgomery will finish no further than 5 spots back, uh, for no further than 5 spots back from DeAndre Swift. And Swift, Rich and George went the side of Swift. So in other words, they were taking Swift and they were giving you 5 spots, saying that Monty would finish more than 5 spots behind Swift.
mhm.
You said Monty. Monty ended up being the RB21. Swift was the RB19. So only 2 behind Swift. So you won the bet.
Yeah, and that was
Um,
another bet where I was like, I think they're in the same club. I think they're in the same ballpark, and they didn't. And
well, the thing is, though, Swift played in every game. Monty missed 3.5 games. So technically speaking, as far as points per game go, Monty would have actually been several spots ahead of Swift had
well,
he played.
I can't pat myself on the back that because I didn't expect him to be. I expected him to be in the same league as Swift, but I didn't expect him to do as well as he did in Detroit
But
with
again,
Gabe.
just like the Akers bet, though, this was more
Yeah,
about how much George and Rich was touting
right,
Swift,
right.
and you were trying to
Yeah,
knock back Swift a little bit. So,
right.
um, let's see. The next bet, I finally got in the game here. I decided to, after seeing you guys go through all these preseason bets, I got in the game here. Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts, and you all know how I felt preseason about Jalen Hurts in that offense. I honestly thought that Sirianni would hurt Hurts even more than he did. Hurts had a great season. And he ended up as the QB3 overall. I went with Josh Allen, who was obviously the QB1 overall. Myself and George both took the Josh Allen side, where Coach, you and Rich took the Jalen Hurts side.
Mhm.
And Allen was the QB1 overall with only 4 games finishing outside of the top 10 for that particular week. So I went and looked at how many times they finished, or did they finish QB 5 overall for that week or QB 12 overall for that week, just to see where they finished each week. And he finished as a QB1. So, or he was okay. Only 4 games that he finished outside of the top 10 in quarterbacks for that particular week. There was only 4 weeks. So, and Hurts was, like I said, QB3 overall, was very close to him, right behind him almost every week. So that was
Because of
was
the
fun.
tush push.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Which actually, Josh Allen still had more rushing touchdowns than Hurts did. So,
Right.
um, or no, he had as many rushing, and then he had more passing. That's what it was.
I feel like the Bills need to revamp that offense this offseason. If I'm the GM, I'm getting rid of Stephon Diggs. I'm freeing up that cap space. I'm drafting a high-end wide receiver. I'm signing a big-time running back. I like Cook, but I think you need multiple options. I need a second great running back to pair with Allen. I need two because they got the tight ends. I like Kincaid. I like Knox. They need two receivers. They need to draft one, maybe sign a guy like Ayuk. You know, if I'm the Bills, I am revamping that offense completely because then next year after that, then you can focus on the defense, right? Because you can't do it all. Everyone's going to say, well, they got to put some assets into. Well, if they focus on putting the assets into the offense and now, then they don't have to address it the next year. And then, maybe guys step up. Maybe Ed Oliver and Matt Milano's back, Tre'Davious White. Like, yeah, that's what I'm doing if I'm the GM there.
Yeah, and that second year, that second off season for Kincaid is going to be huge too.
Yeah, he's a stud.
The next one, I don't know why, but I always end up falling for this guy in the offseason because I can always get him super late in drafts. And I'm a late round quarterback guy. Rich and I went with Kirk Cousins, and we lost to you and George. You guys took Dak. This was a season long bet. Obviously, Kirk Cousins got hurt. So I wanted to see how it would have fallen had they shaped out for the rest of the season. Turns out Dak had 24.4 points per game, and Cousins had 23.2 points per game. So Dak still would have won, but it does show that Cousins would have been really close to him in the overall QB standing. So I at least feel good that I was high on a guy that finished well, but I still lost the bet.
And Dak, I mean, Dak was what, top 5?
He was the QB3 in the end. Yep.
So, Cousins then would have been QB 5, 6. So it would have
No, no,
been
no, no.
good.
Wait, Dak was QB2 overall.
Oh
That's
man.
right.
So
Yeah,
Cousins
yeah,
would have been top 5 if he panned out like that which is pretty damn good.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
falling for him is rightfully so. And that's it. And he was a top 5 quarterback
Yep. Now
who
the
who
first
should
of
go to
my
Pittsburgh, by the way. Pittsburgh needs to do whatever they can to get Cousins, I think.
that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Mhm.
The first of my victory laps with DJ Moore actually came with a few of my season long leagues, especially in redraft, where I had DJ Moore. The guy, it doesn't matter who his quarterback is, he's guaranteed to get 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns every single year, unless he gets hurt. That's the only time he's never done it is the season he got hurt. He's 1,100 yards, he's 8 touchdowns or better. So that was this year's or this bet, and I'm the only one that took that side. But Coach, you, George, and Rich all said no. DJ Moore will not have 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. As it turns out, he got exactly the 8 touchdowns, so that was closer than I anticipated. But he got 1,364 yards.
Smash that.
So I'll let you talk about that one.
I mean, like DJ, I mean, I wasn't. So what does that say about Justin Fields? He's able to support a wide receiver one.
I don't think so because Sam Darnold did too when he had DJ Moore.
Yeah, I
Like
guess.
every quarterback has done that with DJ Moore. Like
Right.
Cam
Right.
Akers was, or I mean, Cam Newton was a good quarterback. He became a
Now,
great quarterback those couple years he had DJ Moore.
do you think DJ Moore's ceiling is even higher if they bring in an elite quarterback?
Yeah, I mean his couple of seasons were better when he had Cam Newton than they were with any other quarterback, so it makes sense.
Right. Right. Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm on the DJ Moore train.
He
All right.
definitely
I won't
becomes
doubt.
in redraft if they draft a good young solid quarterback. I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on what we see in the offseason because sometimes rookie quarterbacks can not do as well as we think, like our boy there in Carolina, and then others
Bryce
like
Young, yeah.
CJ Stroud, yeah, Bryce Young, and then CJ Stroud will come out and surprise and so I guess it
Right.
depends on what we see in the offseason, but at the very least he's a top 10 wide receiver no matter what.
Right.
I should not be able to continue to get him in the 7th to 10th round in every single redraft league that I'm in, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is.
Man,
I'll take it.
I'd like to see Brandon Ayuk get the wide receiver one treatment that a guy like DJ Moore is able to get because I think Brandon Ayuk could put those numbers up 1,300, 8, like that.
We actually have a very interesting bet with Brandon Ayuk coming up here in a little bit.
Let's hear it.
Coach, before that though, you said Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore will both get a
Uh,
1,000 receiving yards each. Myself, Rich, and George said no. Now, obviously, Amari Cooper got his 1,000. We all kind of knew that was going to happen. 1,250 yards for him. Elijah Moore, 640 receiving yards. I got to admit, that was actually more than I anticipated from him. So I know it's still 360 off, but that's not a heck of a lot of yards. And I do believe that he played in every single game except the very last one.
I,
No, he did play in the last one. He didn't register a catch in the
I
last
was
game.
drinking the Kool-Aid. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, I was a believer in that offense this offseason,
he
and it bit me.
his best games were with Deshaun Watson though.
Right.
So I mean, and Watson missed a lot of the season. So
Yeah.
there's that to factor in. You kind of you wouldn't have anticipated that Watson wasn't going to be there.
No, no.
Um, Kenneth Walker, George and I said Kenneth Walker will have more total rushing yards than Josh Jacobs. You'll never guess who took the Josh Jacobs side.
Rich.
Our man Rich took Josh Jacobs. He is a man of his people, his Raider
Yeah,
Nation.
he is
But
to his own detriment.
yes, and he lost this bet because Kenneth Walker had exactly 100 more rushing yards than Josh Jacobs did, 905 to 805. But on the rushing yards per game, it was 60.3 for Kenneth Walker and 61.9 for Jacobs. So Jacobs did have more rushing yards per game by 1.6, but he played in fewer games. So
You want to hear a little secret about Josh Jacobs?
absolutely.
So everyone thinks the Cowboys are going to bring in Derrick Henry. It's going to be Josh Jacobs.
Well, hopefully
Josh
for
Jacobs is
your
going to be a
sake,
Cowboy.
it's Josh Jacobs
Yeah.
because Derrick Henry's. I'm not saying he's completely lost it, but he's definitely not the Derrick Henry that he was
No,
before.
no. It's going to be in Josh Jacobs like 25. So at least we'll get like 2 or 3 good years out of him. So that's the secret.
Yeah. Speaking of not being what they were before, the next bet is about my Indianapolis Colts. They
Who
obviously
Gardner Minshew's in the Pro Bowl, by the way.
did he finally get in
Dude,
because enough
yeah.
people bailed out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, people just want to see him in a Hawaiian shirt and jorts.
And
And
like
it's not even in
drinking out of a
Hawaii, but
coconut, drinking out of a coconut.
yeah, it's not even in Hawaii. But if it were in
Still,
Minnesota in the snow, he would still do that.
yes.
Um, so the bet was the Indianapolis quarterbacks, team quarterbacks, and I had to make it that bet because I remember Rich and George were trying to get me to bet Sam Howell versus Anthony Richardson, and I said no because Richardson's going to get hurt. He's a rushing quarterback. The Colts always, if they have any kind of athleticism at quarterback, they get hurt because we can't block or save them. I was right, but they allowed me to make it a team bet. So it was the overall team quarterbacks for the Colts versus the overall team quarterbacks for the Washington Commanders. And I lost that bet by a considerable amount.
Really?
Yeah. So, well, not, I guess not considerable. It was only 24 points, 23 and a half, something like that. But AR and Minshew combined for 304.88 and Howell and Brissett combined for 328.4. Now, the biggest reason I lost this bet, though, has absolutely nothing to do with the Colts quarterbacks. I kind of figured that it was going to shake out the way that it did. I thought maybe AR would last another game or two, but regardless, I thought that Howell would get benched for Brissett a lot sooner than he did. And then Brissett is not a guy that's going to get a lot of fantasy points. He just
Right.
wins football games because he's a game manager. He doesn't get fantasy points. That's why I made the bet. But then Brissett only had the start for a couple of games, and then he got hurt, and Howell had to take it back. So, I mean, it is what it is. I still lost by 23 and a half points, but Rich and George take that one home. Dalton Schultz, coach, he's your former Cowboys tight end. He moves on to Houston, and you were still all over him at the start of the season because you chose him over Evan Ingram. Myself, George, and Rich all took Evan Ingram against you, and we won. Schultz was the tight end 11 overall, 10 points per game. He did miss 2 games, where Ingram was the tight end 4 overall at 13.5 points per game.
Man,
So
yeah.
if that says
Schultz
anything,
Go
go ahead.
ahead. No, I
No.
was gonna say Schultz kind of came on down the stretch, but Collins
Mhm.
was huge. Tank Dell was huge. The weapons stepped up around him.
Yeah. This is a testament to why you don't take tight ends early, by the way, guys. That's the difference between the tight end 4 and the tight end 11. So that's 7 tight end spots, and it was only 3.5 points per game. That's really not that much, and you're going to gain a lot more than 3.5 points per game by taking a running back earlier. Now, I'm not saying that you drafted either of these guys late. You drafted both of them late, and you got top 12 tight end performance for both of them. But don't try to estimate who the tight end 4 is going to be and take him early because you're sacrificing more running back points by doing that when you can get one of
Right.
these guys late. All right, Odell Beckham Jr. This was an interesting bet. This one I had a lot of fun putting this one together. So I don't know how we're doing on time because I'm not looking at that screen. But Odell Beckham Jr. his contract, the bet was over or under $12 million for his 1-year contract with the Ravens, and they made it specific. They told me that they just wanted the first year on this because they didn't realize it was only going to be a 1-year deal. But it was Rich and Joe made the bet. Rich took the under. He said it was going to be under 12 million. Joe said it was going to be over 12 million. Joe did win, but it was interesting to see how his contract broke down because it was a 1-year, $15 million deal. But I went with the guarantee, which was still over 13.835 million was guaranteed at the signing. He hit a $250,000 bonus for receptions. the reception incentive, $500,000 for a receiving yards incentive, and 250,000 for his touchdown incentive, which I think he only had 3 touchdowns, and he got $250,000 in total. He earned
What?
$14.835 million, which equals out to almost $424,000 per catch, just because he thought he caught a ball with 3 fingers like 40 years ago. Freaking unbelievable.
That dude, 14. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd that he made that much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Super Bowls will get you contracts, kids.
Yes. Yes.
uh,
Yes.
Nate, myself, and Joe, we all said that the Jets were going to beat the Bills in week 1. Jason and George said, no, the Bills are going to beat the Jets. Well, Nate and Joe and myself did win because the Jets did beat the Bills 22-16 without Aaron Rodgers. So
Clutch.
I was all pumped and excited about my predictions because I had the Jets winning the division at 13-4.
Oh
And
no.
then from that point on, they went on
Yeah.
to do Jet things.
Not too good. Not too good. Hey, I'm gonna read a few of these off. Right. I got this next one. I pulled it up. So George thought that Matt Ryan will play 2 games this season. And you said he didn't, which is what a bizarre. This one is, of course, I'm gonna read this. So this is a very bizarre one. You won, Justin. Ryan is rostered in 0.1% of ESPN leagues. He never signed a contract with any team. That is such. I wonder. I wish I could go back to this conversation and see how it even popped up. But this next one's interesting. Nate said that Trey Lance won't start a game in San Francisco. I said he will because I was drinking the Trey Lance Kool-Aid, and he ends up in Dallas. So Nate won because he was traded to Dallas like right after we made this bet, and then he never started a game in Dallas. I don't think he was ever active for a game in Dallas. So that was interesting.
I don't know, but for what it's worth, he's rostered in 0.3% of ESPN leagues. So
Holy, only a little bit above Matt Ryan. All right. Rich said Chris Olave will outproduce Garrett Wilson. You said no. Rich won. Olave was wide receiver 16 with 14.5 points per game. Wilson was wide receiver 26, but you were drinking the Jets Kool-Aid,
yep.
and it was because Rodgers got hurt. I mean,
Yeah, if Rodgers was still there, that's only a difference of 2 points per game for Wilson. He
Wilson had some
absolutely would have
crazy
blown that.
moments. Dude, remember
Yeah,
that catch he had week 1? Like, it's crazy. Like, he can play. All right.
yeah.
I had
He's a baller.
Waddle over Devontae Adams. Chris Iceman had Adams.
This one
Iceman
wasn't
won.
Iceman. This was Chris's videos.
Oh, snap. Chris's videos. Me and him making bets, man. All right.
Yeah.
So Chris won. Waddle was wide receiver 34, 14.2 points per game, missed 3 games. Adam was wide receiver 10, 15.6 points per game, and did not miss a game. So he's steady Eddie. I went again with Waddle over Devontae Smith. You had Smith. You won this. So Waddle was just getting me tons of losses. Again, Waddle was wide receiver 34. Devontae Smith was wide receiver 19. So I'm surprised you went with an Eagle there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was more so I was kind of down on Waddle to start the season. I kind of
Right.
I don't remember the whole process. I just remember the way things shook out and just the way that I was looking and viewing Waddle going into the season. I had him more towards a mid to like a like 20s, between the 20 to 25 range for wide receivers is
Right.
where I had him, and I had Smith at like 16 or 18. So
I think Waddle has top 10 talent. So
yeah,
I'm a talent guy, and that's why I had Ayuk over. Well, you actually had Debo over
this is
Ayuk,
that interesting bet I was talking about earlier.
and Nate had Ayuk. So you read this one off. This one is interesting.
Yeah, so I had Debo and Nate had Ayuk. So what it came down to, though, in the end, Debo was the wide receiver 15 overall, and Ayuk was the wide receiver 14 overall. So he only beat me by 1 spot. But Debo had more points per game, and he missed 2 games, where Ayuk only missed 1 game, and that was literally the difference. It was only a few points overall on the season, but he still won because, like I said, injuries count in our game. So yeah.
Well, you won the next one. You got
And
the
then
best
another
of them.
DJ
So
Moore bet,
yeah,
top 15. Like I said, I had him listed as a top 10. DJ Moore listed as a top 10 wide receiver. I think I had him at like 8, and he ended up being the wide receiver 6 overall. Nate said there's no way because he will always bet against any Bears player, being a Packers fan. So DJ Moore won me another one. Garrett Wilson,
this one's
or
absurd. This one's
Allen Lazard.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I felt like this one was brought up because, for one, George and Jason are the 2 that are in this bet, and George and Jason just fight like brothers all the time. They
Right.
practically are brothers, and I feel like maybe sometimes you know how, like, the older brother will kinda, like, feel like, he kinda feels bad for the younger brother sometimes? I feel like maybe he was just giving Jason a freebie here.
No, George is stubborn, man. George is stubborn. Like like me. He'll stand
Yeah.
on a hill and I think he stood on he said that with his chest, I think.
Obviously, Jason won this bet with Garrett Wilson. Allen Lazard finished as the wide receiver 99 overall. He missed 3 games, and he had 4 more games where he didn't even register a catch. So
Right.
that was 7 zeros on the list, where Garrett Wilson finished as the wide receiver 26 at 12.5 points per game, like we talked about up above. So
All
it
right,
wasn't even close.
let me read off these last 6, all right? And then we're
All
going to
right.
get to the results, all right? So Cordell Patterson, top 36 running back. Justin says no. Nate said yes. You won. He came in as the RB 79 overall. His best overall running back week was 38, week 7. I wonder if this was done before the Bijan Robinson drafting situation, but Patterson,
It was after Bijan, which was another big reason why I was
his
totally, yeah,
his time's up.
yeah,
He's no
unfortunately.
longer he went from being on my all dudes list one season, like he'll always go down as a toilets to titles Hall of Famer. Has to.
Yeah.
One year we'll come up with Puka's gonna go on that too. We're gonna have, we're gonna have David Montgomery, Cordell Patterson, Puka Nakua. We'll come up with this list. All right. The human predator, Deshaun Watson will be a top 6 quarterback. I said yes. Justin said no. Iceman said no. Shane said no. I was so wrong. Quarterback 35. He did have 3 top 10 weeks in the 6 games he played, but karma got him. All right. Justin did not have him ranked in his preseason rankings, nor will he have him ranked in 2024. Well, so we must have been on a Browns tangent here because the next one, Amari Cooper over Elijah Moore. Justin, Joe, and Rich say Cooper. George says Moore. Amari Cooper, we talked about this earlier. He blew more out of the water. Aaron Rodgers, top 10 quarterback. Justin says yes. George says no. George won. I mean, yeah, we don't need to
Yeah,
discuss this
and my
anymore.
comment on that one was that's good enough. We don't need to talk about this any
Yeah,
further.
yeah. All right. More wins. Colts or Bucks. Justin says Colts. Jason says Bucks. Colts were 9-8. The Bucks were 9-8. The Bucks got 1 win in the playoffs, 32-9 over the Eagles in the playoffs. Because I love that they whipped, because Justin loved that they whipped the Eagles, he's going to give Jason the tiebreaker. So that's very sincere of you and nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, Jason was no threat here. He didn't qualify. He didn't make
Yeah,
enough bets to qualify. So
dude. Yeah. Uh-huh. He's one of the guys I'm really excited to see in King because he's such like a he's just gentle, jolly, like, and we and him have like we both love Disney, so we just kind of catch up
mhm,
with each other. Like we
yeah,
relate on a lot more things than I thought when we first started talking. So I'm looking forward to seeing
yeah,
Jason. But all
solid
right,
dude. Yep.
yeah, the next one, Cole Komet or Friar Muth. Justin said Komet. Jason, Joe, and George said Muth. Justin won. Komet was tight end 8 overall. Pretty damn good. 10.7 points per game. Did not miss a game, but had 2 games with 0 targets. Fryermuth was tight end 30, 6.4 points per game, missed 5 games, and only registered double-digit points twice. I had him in a few leagues, and that crushed me. I waited late, took him, devastated me. Finally, Chigi Okonkwo, under 10 points per week. Justin says under. Rich
No,
says,
I said over.
oh, I'm sorry, you said over. I can't read you're a teacher, so of course you know how to say that.
Yeah,
Anyway, Rich won. Chig had 0 points in week 1 and only hit double digits one time all season.
I was so high on Chigo
A
Conquo,
lot of
man. You have
people
no
were.
idea. Like, because I looked at the previous year. I looked at those last 4 games.
Yeah.
That was such. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, and you shouldn't go with small sample sizes. But it was more than just the points he was getting. They were getting him heavily active in the running game. Like they were finding ways to get him the ball, and he looked like a freak athlete. And then all of a sudden, he's just nothing. He's freaking Mo Alley Cox with the occasional athletic catch, and then nothing else.
Right. Well, hey, it's time for the bathroom board results, Justin. So go ahead.
All right. So the bathroom board results. We can kind of count out Shane, Iceman, Chris, Jason, Nate, and Joe. They didn't really make enough bets. I think there were like 5 or less between each one of them individually. So you got to make a lot of bets to be able to qualify.
10
Coach, you
plus.
had a
We'll say
really
10
down
plus.
the year.
Yes, I
What's
did.
that?
10 plus. You need
Yeah,
10
10
plus.
plus. Yeah, there you go. You had a really down year, coach, and so your reign as the champ is finally come to an end after 2 straight years of winning this thing. You were 4-10. That's a 28% win percentage, and bottom of the four. So you should feel embarrassed. And then Rich,
Yeah, I do.
Rich was
Damn
six
it.
and seven, 6 wins, 7 losses. So he had just under a 500 win percentage there, kind of like his Raiders. So there's that. George came on strong. He had a second place finish this year. So um, uh, he was 10-9, so just over a 500 win percentage. And then I had 20 bets total. I was 13 and
Ooh,
7. So not
damn.
only did I have the better percentage, I also had the most wins. And it looks like I had the most bets as well, which also helps, obviously.
Pretty
Let
damn
that be a lesson
impressive,
to
though,
kids.
to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
all that's the bathroom board triple crown. You might be the you might be the first ever bathroom board triple crown winner.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, it's an absolute honor.
We need to keep track of that.
Yeah, I've
We
only
need
really
you, though,
kept track
going
of the
forward. You're the
win-loss
first you're the first recorded bathroom board triple crown winner.
first for that we know that we can remember.
Yeah, fair. It's dubbed. You're dubbed. So
All
you
right,
got it. You earned it.
all right, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And so actually, you know what? We're at 45 minutes. I won't. I was gonna mention the playoff challenge thing that we're doing, but
Mention it. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, since I won this one, and you have to wait an entire year to be able to come back on that, you have an opportunity to at least beat me this week in our playoff challenge, because I'm currently sitting in seventh place, and you're right behind me in eighth place in the playoff challenge. So you have an opportunity to beat me this week, so that I have to wait a whole nother year to come back on you in the playoff challenge,
The fantasy football playoffs.
the fantasy football playoff
So not
challenge.
technically this week because Super Bowl is next week.
That's
So
yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you meant. So
Yeah.
man, but like, we're like 30 points out of first, so that's tough.
Yeah, and
Um,
I looked at the players that they could potentially have left, and it's pretty much the same players as me. So I'm assuming we won't really have much of a shot. Most teams aren't going to have a whole lot of really good players left, but
right.
my
I
Achilles.
got McCaffrey left
Oh, you do?
and Debo
Nice, nice. I
and
have Debo
Mahomes.
or Ayuk. I can't remember which, but
I got Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, McCaffrey. I don't have a tight end. So I'll have to start Gray. I got Debo, Juwan Jennings, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Um, so we'll see. I
yeah, I
knew
have
the
a few
Niners
of
were gonna
those
make it,
guys.
so I saved
I'm
them all.
I'm starting Kyle Juszczyk, so if that tells you, and Juwan Jennings. So
Right, right,
I'm
right.
hurting. You might pass me up.
Man, I think I'm gonna. All right, everybody. Hey, if you want to play fantasy baseball, figuratively speaking, best ball, I will give away 20 $10 entries into best ball leagues if you get 4 friends to sign up for these leagues. So they have to pay, right? So they'll pay 10, 10, 10. That's 40 bucks, but your entry will be free. Okay. And you can do this multiple times, but you got to get 4 different people every time. So we are giving away $200. Hell, if you fill a whole league, if you get 11 friends, I'll give you a $25 entry. Write that down. And I'll give that away. I'll give $250 of those entries away. I don't care. You fill a league, I'll give you 25 bucks. I'll give you a free entry. All right, fill a league. All right. So you heard it here first. We will catch you all later on. Enjoy the week. I don't even know if the Pro Bowl is being played this week.
It
If it
is.
is, cool. I'll be up in Killington snowboarding. I'm leaving Friday, so I won't be watching. And me and Justin will catch you all later on.